Having a minor CS lead isn't enough to be impactful in solo queue. Many people base their decisions off of the 15 to 20 CS is 1 kill philosophy. However, I would like to argue that it's not that simple. It depends on how you got the CS advantage. Your opponent missing last hits a bunch is completely different from you zoning them off of the wave. When comparing gold between CS and a kill, we are of course assuming that there is no bounty in either direction. As you can see in the screenshot from the wiki, a melee minion is worth 21 gold and a caster minion is worth 14. This means that a normal wave is worth 105 gold. For every third wave, you have to add in the gold for a cannon minion. Cannon is worth more, but also changes throughout the game, scaling from 60 at the start of the game up to 90 by the 25-minute mark. Using these numbers, the wiki shows that the average gold for a minion is 19.8 at the beginning of the game. The amount is definitely skewed by the cannon value, but that doesn't really matter. All you need to know is that that is how the 15 CS equals a kill idea came to be a thing. 19.8, when you round it up, is 20 times 15 is 300 gold. If you look at it purely from a gold standpoint, yes, it does equal 1 solo kill, meaning no teammates were involved to claim the assist gold, but there are other factors that you need to take into account. The ones that I will be talking about later in this video are bounties, XP, and tempo. Keep in mind that the kill gold is immediate, unlike the CS difference which takes time to accumulate. A kill also typically turns into more CS because your opponent isn't there to stop you. Depending on where the wave is and your current resources, it's possible for you to finish the current wave, plus clear an extra one from proxying, or you could get a plate from the turret. Of course, if the wave is on your side and your opponent has teleport, you're not going to be getting as large of an advantage. There are 3 types of bounties: CS bounties, kill bounties, and objective bounties. Although, for the purpose of this video, objective bounties don't really matter since that's after 14 minutes, so I'm not going to go into those. CS bounties, also known as gold value bounties, occur from farming, killing minions, monsters, or technically you can get it from a support item's gold income, but realistically this is not going to be happening in your games. It would require multiple people on the enemy team being AFK in order to accomplish it. And I'll get into why in a moment. There's a couple rules for the CS bounties. The first one being that you have to have 300 more CS than the opposing team's average gold to get a bounty. This will make you worth 50 more, so instead of killing you and giving 300 gold, when you die you'll give up 350. After that point, every extra 200 above the average will increase by 50 gold once more. But if you have a period of time where you aren't farming as much, or you die, whatever it may be, and the opposing team's average is closer to your gold amount, then your bounty will go down. That 300 more gold than enemy team's average I was talking about before is why a support item gold income is not going to occur. Because they're not going to be getting more gold income than an enemy team that's farming, whether it be jungle monsters or CS, unless they're literally AFK or dying upon entering lane every single time. The other rule is that once you get 1,000 total gold, then your tier goes up 1, but this is only for the negative tiers when you're really far behind, so I wouldn't be too focused on this rule. The more important one is understanding when you get a lead, how is it going to impact you later if you mess up. Now let's talk kill bounties. It's very important to note that your bounty does not go up on your first kill, and if you get a plate from killing your opponents, that gold does not produce a bounty. You can kill all the plates that you want, no bounty. This means you're getting roughly the same amount of gold as you would from the 15 CS, but you're not taking on an additional punishment for dying. If your kill happens to be first blood, then you also get the benefit of the 100 extra gold, which is then equal to roughly 200 CS if you're strictly comparing gold gained. However, the kill bounty will be higher than the CS bounty after you've gotten at least 2 kills, and the kill bounties will not go down unless you die, unlike the CS bounty, which does go down dynamically as you lose your advantage. With all of those factors, it should be very clear that the first kill, regardless of whether you get first blood or not, is always going to be more valuable from a bounty perspective than 15 CS difference. As you get into the territory of many kills, 5, 6, whatever it may be, then you could argue that the CS difference would be more advantageous because your bounty isn't as high and it can go down without you dying. However, if you have that much of a gold lead, regardless of how you got it, and you're still throwing games, that's more concerning than how you got the lead. The difference in XP from killing minions versus an enemy champion is something that I find quite interesting. Solo laners get 95% of a minion's XP. Shared XP is at 116% total. That means if you're playing bot lane, most of the time you're getting 58% XP because you have the ADC and support splitting the XP. And your opponents are getting roughly 39% XP each. Solo laners may find this confusing. Doesn't make sense, 39% times 2 doesn't equal 116, but you have to remember that ADC players are incapable of accepting accountability. According to them, the enemy jungler always spends more time bot than their jungler. When it comes to kills, the later in the laning phase that the kill occurs, the more XP you're going to get because kill XP is based off of the enemy champion's level. Technically, it can also be based on yours if there's a large level disparity, but for the early game, that's not going to be a relevant factor. For anyone that's interested in the math, I'll put it up on the screen. Info is both for the solo laners and the duo lane. If you're a solo laner, melees are going to give you 61.75, casters 30.4, and cannon 95 XP. If you combine all of that, that means you're getting 276.45 for a non-cannon wave and 371.45 for a cannon wave. If we compare that to kill XP, that means with minions you're going to be getting more XP than any kill at level 6 or earlier. However, at level 7, it is going to start beating the non-cannon wave, and at level 8, it'll beat a cannon wave. But do remember that the XP from the kill is immediate, and with the minions, it's requiring you to zone the opponent off. If they're nearby and they pick up the XP, you get 0 difference. For duo lanes, the melees give you 37.7, casters 18.56, and cannon 58. This is of course assuming that both of you are in lane. If one of you recalls, then this isn't going to apply. For a non-cannon wave, you're getting 168.78, and a cannon wave gives 226.78 XP. Which means that a non-cannon wave is only going to be winning at level 3 or lower. Any other time, you want to be looking for the kill for sure, especially with all the other factors that I've already talked about. Sometimes, the tempo difference between farming and killing is going to be relatively insignificant. Other times, they can have a much larger impact. It depends on what resources you have to burn to get the kill, along with what is available on the map to play for. Because tempo is a more abstract concept than mathematically comparing gold and XP gains, I will instead briefly talk about some things to think about in your games or reviews to decide which option is better for your tempo and if that even matters at all. Are objectives up or spawning soon? If you're wanting to play for first grubs, it's important to adjust your trades and recall timings around that. If you intend to give grubs or Drake, then going for a kill causing you to have to recall after may not be that big of a deal. Even if there aren't objectives up, you still want to be looking for opportunities to create good fights. If you've crashed a big wave under the enemy's turret, especially if you have a cannon minion, that's often a good time to set up a dive. However, if you know that you can't dive your opponent, and your jungle's on the other side of the map, maybe you could look to freeze the wave temporarily until a better opportunity arises. You also want to consider respawn timers. Is your opponent going to be back quickly, or is it going to take them a while? Many people struggle with whether they should drop the wave or not whenever their jungler ganks while the wave is under their turret. Of course, you want to consider how many minions you'll be losing, but also if it will delay your timing to crash the wave. If you know that your opponent is going to be able to TP after respawning before you're able to crash the wave, that can be a big issue. Lastly, is it going to take a long time to get the kill, or will it be quick? There are of course other things to consider on the topic of tempo, but this list should be good enough to get you thinking about important factors when making a decision. If you're struggling to figure out on your own, you can always get help from others, such as my Discord server, where I coach both top lane and jungle for free. The link is in the description of this video for any interested.